excited to be here with Alice Sharp, who we've spent the last couple of days with at Bertram in England, being very, very inspired. How have you found it, Alice?
Fantastic. Do you know what? Sometimes you do training, and yesterday we had 18 girls, today we had over 20 girls. They were all girls. And sometimes you don't get a vibe, but today and yesterday the vibe was so positive. Everybody participated. Everybody was asking questions, really interesting questions, putting me on the edge actually. Did I have the answers? And it was a joy, an absolute joy.
Fab. And you've had them singing, you've had them dancing, you've had them touching each other and all sorts, been very intimate. So thank you so much, been absolutely brilliant. And I know there's going to be loads of things happening over the next few weeks in our nursery. So is there one thing you'd like to leave us with or share with us that you'd like us to think about going forward?
Yeah, I think, and I'm talking about this everywhere I go just now, and not just in the UK but abroad as well, that we need to peel things back. We need to go back to basics, and we need to start where we're supposed to start. We need to start with the child.
Absolutely.
The curriculum is not as important, the resources are not as important, the environment's not as important as the child, and what is it the child needs from us. And in fact, one of the things that we need to think about, and Guy Claxton has just written a book about the skills of the child of 2030, and the book's called Educating Ruby, and he calls it a call to action, in fact, which I really like. And he talks about the skills, so him and his co-author and I guess his research team have suggested that the skills that children will need in 2030 are creativity, curiosity, collaboration, communication, craftsmanship, commitment and confidence. All beginning with C. I think he's missed out connection. I think he needs to put connection in there. But actually looking at that book, reading that text and thinking about our facilities, and we've talked about it in relation to Bertram obviously in the last 2 days. Are we building the confidence of our children? Are we building commitment? When a child is in the middle of doing a painting and all of a sudden they walk off, do we ever say, oh my goodness, Brody, what a beautiful painting. I'm not sure it's finished. I wonder if you could maybe finish it. He might ignore you and go away, but they're not, we need them to commit, we need them to collaborate. An individual programme of work is really important to support a child where they're at, but we need to encourage them to communicate and collaborate together. We need them to use their voice, their words, so there's huge amounts of consideration and concern, I guess, that I've got about the myths and legends of early years, and yes, the environment will help, the resources will help, but the staff being the biggest resource a child has access to, and building that confidence, that creativeness, that curiosity. What is there in those environments that a child is excited about, is curious about, because that will make them a deeper and richer learner.
Yeah, we are the most essential resource.
Huge, absolutely. And so we've talked about that a lot today, and we have looked at resources that are a wee bit, I'm all about making the mundane magical, and we've looked at spoons, and it's covered nearly every part of the curriculum, and we've looked at mashers, and we've looked at stones. Oh my gosh, the consideration of stones we did today was just phenomenal.
Amazing.
And so it's about us taking our continuous provision, which is really important, and enhancing and enriching it. And I think in some of the establishments I go in and out of, there's good, strong continuous provision, but there's a lack of awareness of the staff on, well, where will I take this? What do I do? What's my next steps? And so we did a huge amount of consideration of that today. So it's been really interesting, and the girls the staff that were here have all considered something that they want to take away. And what was lovely about that in the 22 that we had today is they all wanted to think about something different.
Which is
some of them wanted to read up on some of the theories we talked about, some of them wanted to go to a charity shop and buy stuff, some of them wanted to go back to their environments and really step back from the play, observe the play and think, how is this working? Is it successful? Can I make it more successful and richer for my children? So it was fab.
It was brilliant, and I love the message that you almost, it's that message about, do you know what, don't overthink it, keep it simple. It really is about that, isn't it?
I used to say that what we do is not like rocket science, it's actually more complicated than rocket science. But we put barriers in the way. We make things, we trip over stuff, And we need to think, well, what is it this child needs?
Yeah.
And this child maybe needs colouring in.
Yeah.
And this child maybe needs to build the biggest model higher. So I'm going to give him a stool and I'm going to let him take a risk and stand on the stool and build another 4 blocks higher.
Yeah.
Because that is his craftsmanship. He's so excited about building that model higher and bigger and wider and broader that we need to scaffold and allow and enable that to take place.
Yeah. So bringing it always back to the individual child, even if that wouldn't be what your normal practice might be, really thinking out the box in that way, isn't it? So
and I think
that's definitely come across.
Yeah, and I think we looked at the 9 senses of the child. We looked at the internal senses and the external senses, and the girls were curious about that, you know, because we always talk about the 5 doors into the brain and the 5 senses, and kind of forget that Maslow needs to come before Bloom's or Vygotsky or Fribble or whoever. Maslow comes first, and so we really looked at what that looked like in our facilities.
Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, well, thank you
Ah,
so much for
no
a couple of
bother.
days with us.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely brilliant, and
Thank you.
we will see you soon, I'm sure.
Cool.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye. Do we look gorgeous?
Oh, I don't know if it looked gorgeous, but it looked fine. Fine and dandy.